I'm so pleased and so happy that you can join me today. How are you doing? If you can do me a favor, you guys, before watching the video, tell me how you're feeling right now. Tell me where you're watching from so that we can interact in the comment section below, so that we can share, brainstorm some ideas. And if you are so kind, it would be so great if you could subscribe to the video, to the channel. So for some reason, 71% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. So I'd really appreciate if you would really help out with this subscription. So and click that notification bell, because every time I post a video, I would really love for you to be a part of that. All right, guys. So let's get into the video. All right. In the comment section, guys, I've come across a lot of people who have always made similar comments. And one of those comments, I must say, I'm very guilty of. And I'm guilty of that for showing Zimbabwe the beautiful side of Zimbabwe. Only the positive side about Zimbabwe. I'm guilty of that because it is only my focus to look at those things and project them out to people to see, and how beautiful Zimbabwe, or I talk about what Zimbabwe is. But so I felt like it's also very important for me to also address that bit and then talk about the Zimbabwe they don't often show you, or we don't talk about. If you're patient enough, though, it can actually teach you what home really has become. You see, guys, many of the people who have left for the diaspora, they always have dreamt of this moment, the day that they return home, the grand return. Yes, the idea that one day we will finally come back home to the motherland and build. And here's why you need to know the truth before you do that. So let's start off with something that is just basic, electricity. In the UK or Canada, you don't think twice about switching electricity. But in Zimbabwe, electricity can be actually a visitor at times. It comes and goes as it pleases. Data, they used to give us a schedule, like what time they would switch on. But now, they've lost tracks. And if you are in the high density suburbs, Mbare, Kwadzana, you might even experience power maybe twice or 3 times a week. In odd hours for that matter. And then sometimes you can charge your phone at a neighbor's place, and then you find yourself cooking sadza there with gas, and just hoping that next day, the power gods will come through. But then people in Zimbabwe adapt. So you find that people have actually being inventive, and solar panels have become like a new gold. In fact, if you're thinking of relocating to Zimbabwe, make solar that Mr. Solar a middleman, because without it, darknet is not just at night, you see. It sort of becomes a lifestyle if you let it come to you. And then there's the water stories. That is the element of life, water. In the diaspora, water flows endlessly in your taps, but here, sometimes you wait until your hope really runs dry. Council water is something unreliable. It comes once a week. I know a certain place is a place where I know, like Unanama Vuku, or somewhere in that area there, where I know that like the water is scarce. But people are actually drilling boreholes here, and if you are interested in drilling one yourself, it can cost you around 900 to around 2,000, depending with the installation. Because here's how it matters. it matters. With your own bowl, you will learn how to conserve your own water. You could also share with neighbors, because water teaches you something profound about Zimbabwe, that survival is not about convenience, it's about creativity. This one is for every diaspora who says, I am an independent person. My friend, in Zimbabwe, independence can be isolation. Here, what really works in Zimbabwe, my friend, are links. The networks, they're the new currency here. If your neighbor is a plumber, a builder, or even a council worker, that connection can save you days of stress, I can guarantee you. And here's how life here flows. It flows through people helping people. If you come home thinking you can live alone, Zimbabwe can easily humble you into community, because here, the element of Ubuntu is not a concept, you see. It is the only way forward. You must be with the people, for the people, for you to be the person. Getting along with people. Let's talk about money now, guys, because the fantasy of going home can quickly turn into a financial frustration. If you're planning to rent in a high-density suburb, expect to pay around $75 to around maybe $160 per month, sometimes more if the house has power and water. In low-density areas like Borodo, Avondale, Mount Pleasant, thereabout, rents can easily start from $1,000. But here's why it is tricky. Zimbabwe run on both US dollar and the Zig currency, and sometimes prices might change faster than you think. So groceries for one person here in Zimbabwe, it can cost you around $40 to around $80 per month. And for a family, it can be for $100 to about $200 per month, depending on the needs. Also, school fees. You have to think about that, also depending on where you send your children. So now maybe you can get an idea of returning home not just being a passion. And then here's another reality, you guys. Mabasa, jobs. Jobs. You know, degrees now in Zimbabwe are everywhere, but the opportunities are not. You'll find engineers that have improvised now, teaching extra lessons in the backyard sheds. You'll find young people turning their hands into survival tools. In Zimbabwe, we value skills more than certificates. If you can build, if you can wire, paint, weld, and if you can do sewing, if you can farm, here you'll be able to eat. But if you only know how to sit behind a desk and send emails, you might starve before you get your first paycheck, guys. But here's how people are surviving. They are hustling, Baba. They are waking up early, they are finding something to fix, something to sell. It's not easy, but it is real. And sometimes that's what makes Zimbabwe what it is. Beautiful. It forces you to become useful again. I know it's not a cup of tea for everybody. And then I want to also talk about the health factor, because this is very, very important, you guys. Because if you are not sure about this, Zimbabwe will not be very kind to you. You know, a lot of people are used to free medical care in abroad. But public hospitals here are struggling. You know, medicine can be scarce. Patience is the only prescription you can afford. And here's how the wise are surviving in Zimbabwe. They get a good medical aid from companies like Alliance. Pismas is probably the most affordable. And then you can get from CMAS. They have an international package for health guard. Or a CMAS US dollar medical. You can also get one from First Mutual, because one illness without insurance can wipe out all your savings. I can guarantee you that for sure. It's not about staying alive in Zimbabwe. It's about staying ready. Because in Zimbabwe, prevention truly is better than cure, you know. Now, for something lighter, you guys, transport. It's actually one of the few affordable things left. Trip to town is about 50 cents from basically anywhere, most areas around Harare. Maybe $1 for a return trip when you do that, depending on the peak hour. You ride in a combi that is packed of stories, packed with laughter, and of course, that's where the rhythm of life is coming from. You will hear people debating soccer, politics, gospel music, and then whilst you are doing that, you will also get a feeling that home is just this wholesome feeling. Now, I also want you to think about the emotional truth of dealing with Zimbabwe. Because we need to be honest, many people come back expecting peace, and then they find pressure, and then they find chaos. And here's why. Because home isn't a reward, you guys. It's a responsibility, you could say. If you come back just to escape loneliness abroad, Zimbabwe might just test your patience. But if you come back with purpose, to build, to invest, to reconnect, you will find something more precious than comfort. The wisdom of returning home, you guys, and here's how I've learned to see it. Zimbabwe is not a place for the faint-hearted. It is a land for builders, for dreamers, for those who refuse to give up. You will learn to live with candles. You will learn to save water like it's a treasure. You will learn to smile even when things don't work. You will also rediscover what truly matters: family, community, simplicity, and resilience. Now, these things are some things that the diaspora can make you forget. So, before you decide to pack your bags and emotionally getting attached and motivated to come back home, Zimbabwe is not heaven. It is not hell either. But it is home. Home, raw and unpredictable and full of possibilities. If you come with money, come also with patience. If you come with dreams, come also with humility. If you come with skills, come ready to share these skills, because that's how we will rise again as a people. So yes, there's another side of Zimbabwe, the side that is not filtered, not edited, not sugar-coated. But if you can survive it, you will thrive in it. Because here, on this land, in this soil that we step on, every struggle becomes a seed. And every seed, given time, given the necessary nurturing, it becomes home. This is a Zimbabwe nobody talks about. But now that you know a little bit, the choice is yours. Will you return to complain? Will you return to contribute? It's a very good question. Stay blessed. But remember that the soil remembers your name, and it is well. It is well. Until we meet again, you guys. Bye-bye.